Thank you. Hopefully you're feeling in a good mood as you watch us this morning, but if you're having a bit of a struggling day, first of all, don't beat yourself up about that, because all of us have ups and downs in our lives. But when you're having kind of that down moment, it sure is nice to have somebody who can help you get up again. So we find that in the form of Charles and Amy Miller. They're back on the show with Scenic City Neurotherapy. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
May happens to be Mental Health Awareness Month. And it seems like more than ever before, what we know about mental health, Amy, is that it's not just one thing.
Correct. It's, it's a whole person. It's getting out and being part of nature. It's engaging with your friends and family and really making those things a priority.
Right.
As we get busier and busier with kids and work and all of the things we have to do, it seems like those are the first things we kind of push aside.
Yeah. I had a situation this week. I don't really get sick, but I got sick on Tuesday. I was just not feeling good Monday night, woke up Tuesday morning, just didn't feel quite like me. I took the day off, which was agonizing because I felt guilty. But the next 2 days later, Wednesday, I was fine again. Mm-hmm. But giving myself the permission to take that pause was probably the best thing I could have done, but it's so hard for us to do.
It really is, but I think you nailed it. It's giving yourself permission to put yourself first, to put your mental health first. Because I'm a mom, and I know so often I will put aside my needs, but then I watch everyone suffer.
Right.
And it's just not necessary.
Right. Okay, so Charles, you've been on so many times over the years, and you're very quick to be compassionate to people who are struggling, because you know that words matter. So you don't want friends and family to say, well, just go for a walk or just do this. It's not easy.
Yeah, I say all the time that if you could think your way out of this, you probably would have by now. One of the things you mentioned, some of the things we've learned about mental health, it's not just one thing. There is, behavioral components, but it's very physiologic in nature. What we've learned is that it's more relatable to a neurologic injury than it is to a thinking problem, which means that we can address the way the brain communicates in a better way. That's what we do with our treatments at Scenic City Neurotherapy. We do ketamine infusion therapy, transcranial magnetic stimulation. What we do with these treatments is it enhances the way the brain communicates to where we don't necessarily feel good or bad, we feel correctly. And then the behaviors come into play at that point, but when you do things that should feel good, you get to feel good.
So let me ask you something, because you've always been very quick to say, too, that you don't walk this journey alone with your clients. You want them to have a mental health provider that they're working in tandem with. But to the point that it's a physiological situation. If you have a sprained ankle, it has to heal, but you will do some degree of physical therapy.
Correct.
So are there some actions that we can take, even if they don't feel right in the moment, that will help regenerate the right pathways? Like the summer is here. Is being outside a good idea?
So all positive activity that we just discussed actually leads to neuronal regrowth. It releases the exact same chemicals that we release when you come in for us for a treatment. Okay. It does it on a much smaller scale, so that's why it's important to do it every single day. And that's also why it's important when you get way out of balance, you come see us, so that we can flood those chemicals on your brain and make things feel better. But it's the little things every day, going for a walk, calling a friend. It does the same thing, just on a smaller scale.
When you say if you get way out of balance, you come and see us, that's a hard thing to define.
It is a very hard thing to define, and I think it probably means something different for each person anyway. You know, it's something you have to decide. Okay, it's time that I put myself first and that I really address this, because I might be suffering, the people around me might be suffering. We can do better.
Right. I am going through this philosophical time of my life because I'm watching both of my children kind of emerge into these next steps for them, happily so. But I'm realizing in watching them grow that so much of it too is self-awareness.
Yes.
Is that right? And that a lot of us aren't very self-aware of what you need to fuel your soul,
Oh, that's absolutely true. I think Chattanooga is a great demonstration of a place to find those things, though, because we have a plethora of activities. Like, you know, with our Chattanooga chamber, or with our Chattanooga Tourism Board that you had on, they're talking about hiking and art, and the Medal of Honor Museum, and you know, one of our favorite things to do when our children were young were just to wander downtown just to see what we could find.
Yeah.
And we always found things.
Even if it's just people watching.
Even if it's just people watching.
Right.
You know, Chattanooga's a great place to just kind of explore. There's the Chattery that is always, they have those wonderful adult education classes,
Right.
and there's Outshine. You know, the hard part is just giving yourself permission, making the time, and kind of exploring yourself.
You mentioned Outshine on Monday, May 23rd, at Reflection Riding. They're doing a yoga class, right?
They are
Outside.
doing an outdoor yoga class, and I have to tell you, those kinds of things are usually very challenging for me. I went to an Outshine yoga event last summer. It was wonderful. It was very not challenging. It was like you got a massage outside, and by the time I left, I was very much at peace. And it's like I said, it's not usually the kind of activity I would engage in.
So let me ask you this, Charles, because as Amy was talking, I was thinking about COVID days and how we were so solitary and isolated. I'm guessing you're still seeing people with issues from that.
We do. We saw a lot of the psychological stress of isolation. You know, people who are used to at least their primary engagement was going to the office every day.
Yeah. They
lost that engagement, and human engagement, the connection between each of us, looking people in the face, that's a big piece of our mental health.
Yeah.
And then there was also the physiologic side effects that just come from a COVID infection, and since everybody's had it probably twice by now, there's actual neuronal decay that occurs secondary to inflammation after a COVID infection.
So when people come to see you at Scenic City Neurotherapy, whatever your definition of you're not feeling right, and that's for you to determine, not somebody else, I guess. Consultations are free?
Consultations cost nothing. You get to come sit down with myself or one of our other providers, and we talk you through this process. We let you know what this looks like, how this works, answer any questions you may have to make sure that when you come in, you are ready to go, and that this is something that we both agree is a good idea.
Okay, and if they want to be a part of the yoga class on Monday, do they sign up through Reflection Riding or through y'all?
Through Outshine.
Through Outshine. And that's just Outshine.
Outshine Adventures, and I'm sorry, I don't know the
Okay,
website.
Google it. Google Outshine Adventures. And in the meantime, write down their phone number at Scenic City Neurotherapy, 228-0579. They just wanted you to kind of feel good as you go into these summer months and not feel like you are alone. And if you're needing some help, contact them. Also online at sceniccityneuroTherapy.com.
Parents are telling Local 3 about the scarcity and high cost of childcare. How are they paying for it? Join me for a look at solutions to help you find affordable childcare tonight at 6, only on Local 3.